Hello, this is Team Morph's presentation of our game Morph for Full Sail University's Research and Marketing course. I am Brendan Murphy, and with me are Robert Mulcahy, Ryan Grissaf, and Tim Lester. Morph is a fantasy third-person puzzle game in which the only enemy is the environment. The game follows a young girl named Athanasia, who is part of a long line of girls chosen to have transformative powers, and who are sacrificed on a mysterious island when they turn 18. Athanasia, now on this island, must find an artifact that is hidden deep in the island and may be a way to end the cycle of sacrifices. Our main mechanic is the idea of transformation. Transformations are powers which the player will gain throughout the game, which will help them to solve puzzles. These transformations are gained when the player finds and steps into transformation nodes, which are basically circles of colored light in which the color denotes which transformation the player will gain. These nodes will be hidden around certain puzzle areas. However, not every transformation will be available to the player in every level. Another main mechanic for Morph is death. Morph does not penalize the player for dying. There is no life counter or health display. Therefore, the player can learn from their mistakes and not have to keep restarting. Each level will have numerous checkpoints in strategic areas so that when they die, they won't have too far to travel in order to keep playing from where they just died.
The heavy form's got a few different options. First off, let's talk wind tunnels. These are areas where the wind is flowing so fiercely that any other form cannot pass through. But if you are in heavy form, you are dense enough to where the wind cannot push you back and you can move forward. But the wind can also help you. This brings us to updrafts. Some of these updrafts can help you and lead you into new areas and help you advance past jumps that you could not normally make. But some of these updrafts could also be lethal and send you into oblivion, making you into a meat sickle on the ceiling. Not good times. Next, let's talk about weak floors. Some of these can be good and lead you towards advancement or even little hidden areas, but some of them could also lead you into oblivion, so let's try to stay away from the bad ones, alright? Now, finally, let's talk about buttons. These buttons are old, they don't work very well, any other form will not be able to get them to work. But if you are in heavy form, you are dense enough to where you can push these buttons down. Some of these buttons could raise bridges, they could open doors, they could lead you to your goal. So heavy form is a very good thing here. Love it, use it, embrace it.
The Tiny Transformation is an ability the player will be granted that allows Anastasia the power to shrink her size and get smaller. Alice from Alice in Wonderland was a key component going into the design of this transformation method and provides a good, easily understandable concept that the player can instantly grasp and manipulate. Obviously, fitting into small crevices and hallways will be essential in the puzzle scenarios, but also certain mechanics throughout the game will require interaction from the Tiny Transformation mode. Things like spike traps that would normally crush a player in the default size. The Tiny Transformation will allow them instead to slip right through as if they were just large columns surrounding a room. Also, windy areas that are normally only traversed through the heavy transformation will instead pick up the player and throw them in the wind's direction, and that will allow for them to get to places they normally wouldn't be able to reach otherwise.
The final transformation the player can take is the liquid form. Liquid form makes the player take on a watery form that can shoot water blasts and use water to propel their jumps to greater heights. This form is used to hit faraway buttons that the player cannot reach, or to jump over gaps that are just way too far for a normal jump, or to reach a higher area that a jump couldn't reach vertically. Fire crystals are magical crystals that shoot fireballs at the player when the player is in range. They sentry the rooms that they are placed in. A water blast will destroy a fire crystal, opening a path one of them might be blocking, or to make the room safe for the player to take their time to evaluate what needs to be done to be solved within it. Fire spouts are spouts of flames that rise up in a timed and patterned fashion. They are predictable, and the player needs to use their predictability to pass by. While fire spouts may not be used in puzzles directly, they do increase the game's difficulty. Boulders are our final game object in this presentation. They serve two purposes. One, to also increase the difficulty of the game, as in some levels they will be perpetually rolling in the path the player needs to take. It is up to them to figure out how to avoid getting squashed when getting by or completing objectives that happen to also be in the path of these boulders. The other purpose boulders serve are tools that solve puzzles. Sometimes the player is not granted heavy form in levels with heavy buttons. A boulder landing on the button will press it in with its enormous weight. The challenge is to figure out how to get that boulder over there on that button over here with the current tools available.